Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of A Bunch of Blank Paper. I'm Costa Kalogiros, your host, and this is my podcast. So before I start, I wanted to let you know that you can find more information about me on my website, www.costakalogiros.com. You can see more in the description of the podcast and blah, blah, blah. You will find great stuff there. You can see some of my movies and you can, check out my workshops and everything you need to know. So let's dive into tonight's or today's, depending what time you're hearing it, podcast. So I wanted to make a podcast regarding the structures, which is something that is I find very funny when I see, so many writers or people, posting these quotes from famous writers that they did this and this worked and this is that and that is what it is. And I don't like these people. Okay, I don't want to say heavier words, but I don't like these people because I think that following a three-act structure, for example, might work. Of course, might work because it's something that there is a tool. It's a tool that has been given to us since a long time ago, since ancient Greece. It was designed for the acts were designed for the theater to be able to get the people out and change, the setting, the clothing, whatever they were doing. So this is why they were actually made in the beginning, and people are using it up to now in order to make their screenplays and their movies and whatever they're making. So I find it like a perfect tool, like really, really good tool, in order to break it. So anything we do in screenwriting has to do, or in writing in general, in order to distinguish ourselves from other writers, is to break the rules. Yeah, you've heard, of course, so many times that you need to know the rules first in order to break them. Yes, of course, I agree 100% to that. But what will distinguish you from other writers is to be, I said so many times, 100% truthful to what you're writing, so this truth will connect to the audience as well. And for me, the tool that you have in your hand in order to write it, the three-act structure, is a tool that you can use and manipulate it the way you want to manipulate it and bring it to your own liking and work with it. So because I see so many times, famous Instagram, pages and blogs, cheering and talking about the three-act structure, and I'm like, yeah, okay, what's more? It's 2020. Yeah, we have more things to do, and we have more ideas, and lots of thousands of years have passed. So yeah, just do us a favor and tell us something new, because this is what we need. So I will give you something new. I don't know if you thought about it like this, but for me, it's something that I don't have limits when I'm writing. I don't have any limits. I mean, I'm using the tools because they are giving to us. And yeah, when I'm of course, this happens more to experienced writers, of course, because we know the rules and we know the three-act structure and we are able to manipulate it and bring it to anywhere we want it. But yeah, when you're starting out, of course, you need to learn these tools because they give you a very nice idea of how this thing works in terms of functioning, in terms of creating it. Actually, the machine that's behind it, the whole machine that is behind writing. So I will give you some ideas that I have, and of course, some of you might find them interesting, some of you might not. It doesn't matter. In the end of the day, is something that you are writing, and you will pick the tools that are, perfect for you. Before you go to the structures, before you start actually thinking about the structure of your writing, what you need to do, and what I said so many times, is typical stuff. If you listened to my previous episode, you will know. But if you haven't, just go ahead and listen to them. there's a lot of things you have to do before. It's like the characters creation and interviewing your characters and synopsis and outlining everything, and many things, research, whatever. But the main point of this idea is not what you need to do before. The main idea is that you have to be 100% ready before you write it, in order to write it fast and edit slow. As I always say to my students, write fast and edit slow. That's the idea. Create it, write it fast, and edit it really slow with your logical mind, and go there and do whatever you have to do after you finish the whole thing. So the more prepared you are, the more efficient you will be in your writing. It doesn't matter if you're a new writer or a very experienced writer. I've seen so many experienced writers, putting stories up, how frustrated they are because their writing is not working. This is crap. I think it's crap. Writing should always work if you have made the correct procedure beforehand. The preparation is the most important thing when you're doing anything. When we're doing films, because I'm a writer-director, okay? So when I'm directing a film, I want to be there when I'm going to the location. I want to be completely 100% ready. So my pre-production must be thoroughly scouted, and everything must be perfect in place in order for me to go there and actually finish the whole thing in a procedural way. We're not making art when we're in the set, okay? It's a procedure. We have to do it, and we have to do it efficiently and fast, because this is how the industry works. You're not going to the set to make art. Nope. You made the art before, in your mind, with your actors, with everyone. But as writers, it's the same thing. You have to make the art beforehand. You have to do the heavy stuff, all the working, and rehearse with your imaginary characters that you're creating, and work with them, interview them, do all the work you need to do, scout all the locations you need to see. Everything must be done beforehand, and then the more ready you are with these things, the more efficient your writing will be. So after that, it comes the structure. So you will think and say, okay, I have something that is going on so many years. Let's say you're an inexperienced writer, you're writing your first feature film or whatever, and you say, okay, I have the 3-act structure, and I have the save the cut beat sheet, and I will follow that to make it perfect. You can do that, and it's amazing. It will work. Of course it will work. But there is a huge but here. Can you make it easier for you? Can you make it easier? I mean, it's so simple. The word easy is really nice. Can you make your life easier by changing this rule, adapting it into a new rule and manipulating the rule and doing something new for yourself, which is what? How about 7-act structure? How about 9-act structure? How about 10-act structure? How about 15-act structure? I said so many times in the past, and I'm saying it all the time again, and I will say it all the time forever and ever, that when you set a goal, the most important thing about the writers is to be present, to be there, to have a momentum, to have, to be there and precise with their timing and deadline and everything. So when you set a deadline, you have to be completely sure of what you're doing. So, and also your writing must be a specific time frame every day. So you have to be working for some time every day. Every day, I said that so many times, every day. So by setting smaller goals, you are creating something magical. You are making your life easier because you have a smaller goal to achieve. And I will explain to you exactly what I mean. So, hypothetically, you're using the 3-act structure, which is amazing and great, and it works perfectly fine, and somebody put it there. And I know so many writers that they have not been using this structure, and they're doing great, and they're getting Oscars. If that's your That's your cup of coffee. It doesn't matter. Whatever. I mean, when you start writing, you're not thinking about the Oscar you're gonna win, or the Cannes, I don't know, whatever. You're thinking about yourself and only yourself. You're creating about yourself. Fuck the audience, like my friend Jake said once. Fuck the fucking audience. You don't care about anything. You just write about you and for you. So be 100% truthful to what you're doing. So. But what I was saying is that I've seen so many successful screenplays. When you see the writers behind that, and they were always saying, you know, no, I was using a very fluid structure. It was like very, you know, it doesn't matter. I'm not using any rules. I know what I have to do in some points of the script, and I'm gonna do it. So this is what I'm saying to you: make your life easier and actually bring the tools to your advantage. So. What I found very annoying in the 3-act structure is the second act. Especially the second act is really annoying when you're a new writer. So, what does the 3-act structure say to you? It says that the first act is about 25% of the total thing, the total word count you have. The second act is about 50% of the total word count, and the third act is it's the same as the first one. So the third and the first are the same, 25%. Okay, let's say that's roughly the estimate. And when we're talking about 105 pages, you can do the math, okay? So I'm thinking, okay, first act is about 25% of the total word count. And that makes it about 14 scenes. If you're talking about a 95 to 105 pages, it's around 14 scenes. 14 scenes, right? We got that? Good. Let's say that the first act was split in 2 parts, for example. And then you have 7 and 7 scenes. Let's say the first act was split in 3. What do you have? 3 acts in the beginning. What do you have? 14 scenes or 15 scenes, whatever, divided by 3. So it's 5 scenes. What is easier? Now, that's a very easy question. Okay, the experienced writers must be, you know, like, okay, I'm going to do it, I'm going to write it, whatever happens. What about new writers? Let's go. What is easier? Writing 14 scenes or writing 5 scenes? So that was the main point that I started actually making my own thing, you know, working in, my latest feature film that I wrote, I worked in 10 acts. The last one I wrote, it was 7 acts. So think about it. When you have a smaller goal to achieve, it's more easy. You won't be frustrated. You have less scenes, words, pages to worry about, and it will make your life definitely a lot easier, you know. And you know, the first act is like 25% of the total word count, and we have to do some stuff there. And the second act is 50%. Let's talk about the fucking second act. The second act is 50% of the total word count. So that means it's half of your script. So that means it's like 50 pages long. Okay, and you woke up, you made your first act, you were already there. So the next day you started making the second act. So when you're making the second act, let's say that your goal, as the Save the Cat says, or as the 3-act structure says, your goal is 50 fucking pages. What about your goal being 10 pages? 10, so you split the second act in 5 parts, and you say to yourself, okay, what do I have to do today? I'm gonna start the second act. Great. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna split it in 5 parts. Let's say you're keeping your first act as it is. Let's say the first act stays as 1. 25% of the total count, like 25 pages. Yeah, fuck that. Let's say we'll leave it like this. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not leaving it like this. I'm splitting also the first act, I'm splitting it in 3. Anyway, the second, which is a huge one, and there's a lot of shit going on there, has to be more efficient. So when your target is 10 pages, it's nothing. Split it, make it in less page count, in less pages, less, and split it like this. If you have in the second act, if you split it in 5 parts, then you have the first act and the last act. If you keep them like this, then you have first act, let's say 1 act, second act, 5 acts, so 1 and 5, 6, and the last one, 1. That's 7. Perfect. I will do it like this. Or I will split the first act in 3 parts, 7 pages, 7 pages, 7 pages, done. Break to be, let's go. You're breaking, you have your backstory, and then you have 5 acts to develop the whole fucking thing. And then in the third act, where you have the whole climax and stuff, then you split that also in 3. So you have 3 and 3 and 5. So you have 11 acts. It doesn't matter. Does it work for you? Or you can keep your last act, you can keep it in 2. Or you can keep your first act in 2 and the last one in 3. It doesn't matter, really. The thing is that you have to make your life easier. So roughly the first act is about 20,000 words. You're splitting that. You don't have 20,000 words. You have like 6,000 words to fill when you're starting writing. So for me, I think this works better. Now, when it comes to scenes, you have the first act, it's about 14 scenes. If you split it in 2, you have 7 scenes to write, which is nothing. You're finishing, you have your smile on, and you're like, yeah, I'm so efficient, I can do this. Then you go out, you go out with you have a nice bicycle ride. I mean, by the way, I just bought a bicycle in Athens, which is like terrible, but anyway, it's also good, but it's dangerous. I used to, when I was living in Berlin for about 6-7 years, I was always going with a bicycle, but in Athens everyone is crazy. But anyway, I bought my bicycle now, parenthesis is closing, and you're writing these 7 scenes, and you're done. But you're not thinking of the first act as a whole. You say first act and second act. So first act and second act. You want to call it 1A and 1B? Doesn't matter. The thing is that you have your mentality focused in doing less work, less scenes. So you're making your life really easier. So think about that. Even in the Save the Cat, we have the Act 1 and the Act 2A and the Act 2B, right? So we have the second act here already splits it in 2. So let's say that we have the first act. Write down. We are splitting the first act in 2 parts. Beautiful. Let's say that we're starting with the opening image. That's the first act, right? Opening image. We have the theme, all right, that we state. And we have the setup. That's the first act. Opening image, theme, and then you have like 5 scenes to set up. Right, so that's 7. Perfect. You finished that. You went out for a walk. You had sex with your beautiful girl, boy, whatever. You had a nice chat. You have a nice dinner, whatever you had. You listen to good music. And then you just get the thing going again. And you say, okay, where am I? I am in the first act. I did that. Let's go second act. I'm gonna call it my catalyst. So great, you're entering the catalyst now. So second act, catalyst. 5 scenes for the debate, and then you break into 3. All right? So there you start developing your B story. All right? Developing all the nice things you have to do. The nice things that you thought about. All the mind-bending games or all the fun you're going to have with that or whatever you're going to do. You're reaching to the midpoint, and then you have, the hero's threats going in, and he loses everything or she loses everything, and then you have everything is dark, and then you just enter to the last part when you have the big revenge or not or whatever. The B story plus 2 scenes, that's an act. Then you have 4 scenes, that's an act. And then you have 6 scenes, that's an act. And then you have the midpoint, which is an act. And then you have it so well down there. You have so less work to do. You're so focused, That's why I'm telling you, don't pay attention to the numbers. Do whatever the fuck you want in order to make it more efficient and easy for you to write, because you don't want to think about when you're starting the second act, when you're entering and you're putting there your B story, you already think about the midpoint. You already think about how am I going to break into the third act. So don't think about these things. Set smaller goals, achievable goals. Think about it as a general idea that I have to play with all my ideas here. Then I have to somehow bring the bad boys, in, and they're just going to be threatening my hero a lot. And then he's going to lose everything, or he's going to lose some. And then he's going to be so sad about it, or he's going to be so happy about it, depending on the story you're writing. Then I'm going to break for the final acts. I'm going to split the last act in, let's say, 3 parts. So I'm going to have, in the acts that they're losing a mentor, that's beforehand. And then you have the last acts that you have to gather everyone that is interested in helping this character, and you have to execute the plan and put all the surprises there, and find something different, execute new plans, and go to the final image. And Blake Snyder is gonna be helping you with that, because he had the Save the Cat sheet already there, so you can put that next to you, and you just take a pen or a pencil and just split the damn thing in smaller parts. So that was all I had to say for today. For me, it's really up to you how you want to work. This is the main thing that I wanted to tell you about, because there are going to be many people like me, like someone else. It doesn't matter what they're telling you. It doesn't matter. You're your own mentor, and you're the person that you're going to write it. All right? Okay, afterwards, yeah, you might need some revision from an experienced writer. You can come to me. You can go to someone else, and, we're going to be revising the whole thing to see what's going on and how is it going, always asking questions and always putting up professional feedback there. So, but that's afterwards. When you're writing, you have to be yourself, and you have to make it work, make it efficient, make it easier for your life, make it easier for you in order to write it. So what works in life so many times, I've seen it in so many students of mine, and so many people around me in more easier things than this. Not more easier, sorry, in more difficult things like this, things in life that you have some goals set in your life. If you have a huge goal and you put smaller goals before that, you can achieve the smaller goals, and be really happy about it, and these smaller goals are part of a bigger idea. So take the tools, learn them really good, what they are, what is the 3-act structure, that's the 3-act structure, nice, and break it down, do your own thing, the way that you are gonna be more capable and more efficient to write something. Thank you very much. I know I have one more episode for the Synecdoche New York to give you. I'm gonna give it, of course, but I was really busy preparing on my new feature film, and lots of work came in now. So that's why I was delaying this specific podcast. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got something out of that. Just think outside the box and do your own thing. For more information about my work, go to my website, costakalogiros.com. Be free to contact me on Instagram and talk about anything you want. I'm open, completely open to everyone. So yeah, let's keep writing and keep writing. Thank you very much. Good day, good night, whatever you are. Bless you.